Hey, welcome to NerdChat.
I am here.
Can you hear Josh's squeaky ass water bottle?
It's cold.
So today, I am super behind on my recordings, but we are recording issue number 4, which is also Brawl in the Family part 4 of 5. I was wrong. It is a 5-part series, not a 4-part. For Spider-Man, Renew Your Vows.
Mm-hmm.
Would you just screw the top on your water bottle?
I'm being quiet. I'm gonna kill that cat. Here I'm trying to be quiet with my water bottle, and she's clawing up my door.
I think our fans know that we're loud. Just that we don't live in an area of silence.
Well, you know what? If we lived somewhere colder, we didn't have 900 things that crawled in this house.
Yeah, that's probably true. We could get some stuff that slithers instead.
I'm good with the crawls. Go on.
Okay, so we open up...
I have been here for a while.
I hate you so much.
Ooh, look at that spike.
We open up where we left off, which is...
It's usually where you pick up.
Shut up. Mole Man has his goofy ass like gun, right?
Okay.
And the Spider family is on the run from the Moloids. They're like web slinging away. And Mole Man is just shooting this thing down the hallway. And it's like a Death Star laser. But it's just like... And Spider-Man's like, I wonder what that thing does. And he like looks behind him. And he just sees the beam hit a Moloid. And it just like disintegrates it. And he's like, that is uncalled for. He's like swinging down the hallway, and Mole Man is just like babbling to himself while he's shooting this laser. He's like, "Oh, you thought I was dumb because I've been down here alone, with no friends, alone, with no TV, alone." and he talks about how he saw the battle with Regent through Earth periscopes. And so, like, he's just babbling, like, nonsense. And Spider-Man's like, did he say Earth periscopes?
Just have a bunch of periscopes that, like, go up through the ground, and he just kind of, like, looks around up there.
Right?
That's amazing.
And he's like, I'm just really stuck on Earth periscopes. So, as they're, like, swinging away and running away from Mole Man, they're, like, bickering about like what they're gonna do. You know, Peter's like, no, we're leaving and you guys are going home and I'm coming back. And Mary Jane's like, no, I'm coming back, I'm helping you fight.
Mm-hmm.
And Annie's just like, or we could just all fight and take him down. And they're both like, shut up, Annie. But they get to like this underground lake of lava. They're like deep underground.
Okay.
And they like swing over it and they immediately go, oh shit, like lava. Like, and Annie like swings all the way across, but Peter and MJ like flail and like slam into each other, and Peter like webs her in the face, and they're like swinging across and they just hit the wall. And they land on the platform where Annie is, and they're like arguing and yelling, and they're like, he's like, this is all your fault, you're the one that wanted to teach her how to use her powers in a costume, this is all your idea. And she's like, shut up, Peter, you have to suck it up, the women in your life are crime fighters now too, and your webbing tastes terrible. And he's like, nobody's ever complained about it before. Like, it's dumb. But then the scene changes and we go to Betty, who is on the scene above the sinkhole, and she's like trying to get interviews or whatever. She's on the phone with JJ.
Okay.
And she's telling him that people, like, she's like, there's no denying it now, Jonah. Like, the police are confirming it. There is another spider hero, and this one is definitely a woman. And he's like, no, when did this happen? Now there's 2 of them. And Betty's so funny. She's like, I know, JJ, times are changing, women reporters, women police officers, women superheroes. And he's like, no, Brant, that's... You know that is not what I was talking about. He's like, look, just don't put words in my mouth. Go see if you can get a quote from, like, Normie. I want to know what he thinks is happening. That kid's usually pretty on the ball when it comes to situations like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then the camera switches to Normie. Or, not the camera, the setting. It switches to Normie, who's just on the other side of the sinkhole.
Okay.
And he's talking to his secretary. He's like, I want a full inventory of everything here. I want to know everything that was here before this, and I want to know what's missing now. Like, I want to know, and as soon as I know, whoever was in charge is getting punished. Like, they're in deep shit right now.
Now, I don't know, I don't remember if you explained this to me at any point, but where are Harry and Liz?
So, you don't find out in this issue, but Harry's dead.
Oh.
Yes. You find out in the next issue that Harry Osborn is deceased.
Okay.
Because Betty was at his funeral. And Normie and Betty have
a chat.
Have a chat in the next issue.
Have we found out where Liz is, though?
No, I have not seen it.
Okay.
But I do know that Harry Osborn is dead.
Okay.
But so he finds Busby, and he's like, oh, and I want you to figure out who the identity of that spider girl is, because I find her fascinating, is what he said. So then it goes back to the Spider Family underground. And
Fun.
Peter and MJ are still blah, 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 blah.
As you do.
And they're arguing about how difficult it is for them to cooperate, because Peter's used to being a solo act, and MJ is, she's also a solo act, but she's not used to fighting crime.
Mm-hmm.
She's not used to being a superhero yet.
Yeah.
So, but then they make up, and Annie asks for a superhero name, and they're both just like, absolutely not. But then they start fighting again, because Peter's like, this is... Because Peter's just having a really hard time accepting the fact that the two most important women in his life are now in danger every day, just like he is, by fighting crime just through relation to him. And so he's just having a very hard time with that. And but Annie's standing there just like fucking kicking rocks and shit. She's like, I can't believe they're still fighting like this. And she hears Mole Man's babbling coming up through like this tunnel in the wall, like it's a tiny tunnel, almost like a ventilation shaft, but it's in the rocks. And she turns around to like tell them that she's like, hey, I can hear like Mole Man and stuff like that, and she can't get their attention because they're
bickering
arguing
too much.
Like, they're bickering so much that in the panels of the comics, there's just a few words throughout that are actual words, and the rest of the speech bubbles are just full of blah 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 blah.
Awesome.
It's good stuff. And so Annie's just like, fine, then I'm just gonna go. And she like just starts going through the tunnel. And they're both like, Annie, no! They go to like get her. And Peter's like in the tunnel, like his head and shoulder, and he's like, Annie Mae, you get back here right now. And she's like, no, I tried to tell you, and now I'm going. If you want to help, you just go hit him from the side while I sneak up on him. And this is like my favorite thing, because Peter's like, oh my god, like he's so mad. But MJ's like, yeah, I'm like super mad too, but are you like kind of proud of her? Like I am? And he's like, yes. Does that make me a bad parent? She's like, well, if you are, I am too, Tiger. So then we go to Mo Man, and he's like babbling to himself, about how he's better than Reed Richards. He's just like, I'll show you, Richards. And he's like, I figured out how my gun works. It gets stronger by absorbing life energy. So he like turns it and he just starts blasting moloids. And he's like going through this whole speech of like, though this cause is not your own, hold still. You're dying for a just purpose. Stop squirming. He's just like blasting moloids. And but then while he's like sitting there dicking around like talking, Annie like slides down on her web and just gets on top of the gun so they can't use it anymore. And while she does that, Mole Man turns around and he's like, what? But then Peter and MJ just swing from the sides and just like swing kick through like 30 moloids. They just send them flying. And and Annie goes, well, you know what they say, Dad, the family that fights together stays strong together. He's like, nobody has ever said that. Ever. She's like, nah, I'm pretty sure I saw it on a t-shirt somewhere. But, so then Mole Man is like backing up, like with his staff. Mm-hmm. Like, and he's like rearing back to get like a big hit on Annie. And, then all of a sudden it gets knocked out of his hands. And he looks, and he sees Annie standing there, like, with her arms crossed, and MJ's behind her, and Peter's cracking his knuckles. And Mole Man's like, can we talk about this? And they're all just like, nah, we're good. And then you just see him flying away. And, so then the last page for this issue is the Spider family is sitting on the roof outside the Regent facility. Mm-hmm. And they're talking about how Normie is like having a screaming match with like the feds because the feds are taking the laser gun, and he's like, no, this is Oscorp property, and they're like, yeah, but it's like a mega laser and we're taking it. Like, you don't get to keep it. And MJ's like, I don't know, man, that kid always gives me the creeps. And Annie's like, I don't know, I think he's kind of cute. And Peter's like, no. The Osborns, they are never cute. There's never been a time when cute has been a defining trait of the Osborns. But, so then they're...
Do we know what Peter's relationship is with the Osborns currently in this universe?
No.
Okay. Because in the main timeline, Peter is Normie's godfather.
Well, I think, depending on how Harry died, because we don't know yet. We just know that he died and he was buried. And Betty was at his funeral.
Okay.
So I'm willing to bet that at the point when the battle with Regent took place in this timeline, that he and Harry had not made up yet.
Okay.
That's just what I'm willing to bet. But we don't really know for sure yet. But then Peter's like talking to Annie and he's like, I'm proud of you, Spiderling. And she's like, oh, that's cool, but can I like have something else? Like Spider Girl. And he's like, I already gave you a code name, Spiderling. She's like, but what about like Spider Girl? He's like, there's already a Spider Girl and a Spider Woman. And there's a lot of spider stuff, but you're going to be Spiderling. So that's how she gets her code name.
Oh, but there could be 3 Spider-Mans running around.
I don't think they... I mean, it's true.
In the main timeline right now, in the same period, we have Peter, Miles, and freaking what's 2099's name? Miguel O'Hara. All 3 of them are running around as Spider-Man.
But is Miguel in the 2099 suit?
Yeah.
Because the 2099 suit is dope. I love those, like, finger claws.
Yeah, he got stuck in the present for a while. He might have gotten back by now. I don't remember. but
he's cool. I like
he's
2099.
Cool. But there definitely was a good period of time where we had 3 Spider-Mans at least running around.
We've had like 90
and
different...
Doc Ock is trying to be Spider-Man again right now.
I mean, I'm down for some more Superior Spider-Man.
Yeah. The last panel of the comic that came out today, the 800th issue, is him going to work for Horizon Labs, but no one knows that he's Doc Ock. But he's going to work for Horizon, and he's like, I think I'll be superior, and he is, you can see, like, his costume, which he's had, like, this Doc Ock costume, but now it's definitely, like, a Spider-Man costume again that he's, like, imagining with the red and blue.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah. He has a good chunk of, he helps fight against, Red.
I like
Red
Doc
Goblin.
Ock.
Yeah.
I like Doc Ock. He's a good villain. But yeah, so that's where issue number 4 leaves off, and we have one last issue for the Brawl in the Family arc.
Okay.
And then after that, it moves on to the next story arc, which may or may not include the X-Men.
I do know some of that story.
I can tell you, it's got great cover art.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So
Well.
then, yeah, that's that. So
Well,
do the YouTube stuff, folks. Like, subscribe, share, send it to your friends. Give us hate mail. We love hate mail.
yeah, go ahead and comment on all my videos about why you hate my opinions, and
Tell Josh's face looks stupid. I tell him all the time, but he doesn't believe me.
Rick, you know you want this face.
I do want that face.
Beautiful.
But that's also why I want everyone else to tell you have a stupid face, so you have nowhere else to go.
Well, that's just rude. Alright, guys, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for coming by, folks.